So we're out at Jeff Fisher's place today, probably 10-15 k's east of Corrigin towards Condon. We're out here doing the pre-season inspection on his Case 7250 and D140. Do up a job list of different items that we recommend. There'll be a bit of a discussion about how much they want to get done, or if they want to do it all. When they do, we just get through the repairs and either get it back to farm as soon as possible or finish the repairs on farm. So that's what we're doing today. So normally when we do a pre-season inspection, we'd like to get the header in the front paired up. We'll get all the guards and stuff off the machine. So we go over and take concaves out, all your panels, covers, just so you get good visual exposure to everything. Usually talk to the customer about any operational problems that he had throughout the season. Note them down, and if we can rectify them during repairs. We'll run the front and the header up together, make sure everything runs smooth, like hot spots. If everything checks out operational wise, we'll probably start going through the front. We'll start ripping mats off and checking bearings and chains and stuff like that, and check the decks and something simple like oil leaks and things. We'll just jot all that down, go through the reel and stuff. Once that's done, we'll probably detach the front off the header. Theoretically, we want to go through the machine as a whole. You know, the best way we thought about doing that would be if you were to follow crop flow or product flow. You could separate each individual part of the machine. So you got like product feeding, threshing, residue handling, cleaning, unloading, and then all your powertrain and hydraulics. You'll start with the product feeding side of things, go over the feeder house. We'll do a bit of a lap underneath, just make sure everything on the front of the header prior to the obviously attachment is checked over. Underneath the cab, you probably have a bit of a look over the cab. You move around to the right hand side where a lot of your drives are. You'll go over that side of things. So you'll be checking like belts and chains and pulleys and bearings and stuff like that. You'll go over like housing conditions, if anything's thin or needs patching or replacing. Once you get through your right hand side, you sort of come around to the back here. All your residue handling stuff, you'll go over that, make sure that's all fine. Usually jump up inside the header, check all the shaker frame, shaker system, go through your chopper or beater, depending on what option's on the header. Usually get a pretty good look at the shoe pan from there. Come back out through the back, you end up going underneath, so you're checking all your cross augers. Same thing, wall thickness on housings and chutes. That'll kind of wrap up that right-hand side inspection, getting all the bottom half of it finished. Usually from there, we would mostly move around to the left-hand side, depending on your preference. I like to leave the top two last, but we'll go over the left-hand side, so you've got all your pump drive, unloading system, back into threshing adjustment, battery box, left-hand side of the shaker frame, leveling frame. Once you're done with the left-hand side, you'll end up going up the top, go over the engine and powertrain section, radiator coolers, stuff like that. You move your way into the grain tank, check all the componentry in the grain tank, make sure that's all Mickey Mouse. Normally after that's done, we'll probably get the header back together, put as much stuff on as we can, just so we're not getting in the way of repairs, so the customer's as close as he can be, ready for the paddock. Taking the battery box off, you'll take this cover here off, get the moisture meter auger out of the bottom, take the grain camera off, those two concaves out, and the third one on the left. Finish off taking that bottom grate off. We're going to go through the transition vanes or the rotor cage vanes, make sure they turn in both directions. All we're trying to establish here is that every action works from the cab and you don't get any fault codes and you do get an actual reading. After we've done the repairs, we will go and calibrate it all anyway to make sure they're right. And now we'll do the pre-sieve, so we're checking all directions, like both directions of the pre-sieve. So that's going open, and then we're going close, then we're going to go down, and then we're going out. So we know that the actuator is reading a in or out direction, bottom sieve. So we know everything works from the cab at this point. So I'm going to walk around now. I'm going to eyeball everything. You just wait in the cab and I'll come back and get you. Any sort of loose components will be picked up in an operational check, or worn components, you'll find your bearings that have failed. Obviously we do it straight away. We don't try to run it up to like operational temp in case anything is damaged, but this machine's in pretty good condition, so we should be able to run it up to full noise. We'll get the front going first, and then we'll start bringing the idle up. We're just going to start on the front now. Marcus is backing belts off, like draper belts. So what we're going to try and do now is produce the customer a list with all the defects or recommended services or maintenance intervals that we're going to push towards him, just to get him like a nice comfortable season without any breakdowns. So we'll go through servicing, common bearings and critical maintenance points that we've found obviously as a dealership. The customer wouldn't see many machines per year, they're probably used to their own, so we like to share a lot of that knowledge. So we'll build that sort of profile for him. So we just start on the front to begin with. So something like draper belts, we'll back off the draper belts, and then you can get like, obviously the roller can be checked to see what the bearings feel like. If they're smooth, that's obviously a bonus. We know we haven't got anything that needs to be done. However, depending on the hours that the customer's done, I would potentially recommend him to do them regardless. It's a bit of cheap insurance, I suppose, to know that they're done when you might do, like, let's say 300 rotor hours a year. You wouldn't really worry about it, but if you've got guys that are trying to do big programs, time is of the essence. The idea is to get the grain in the bin. We don't want to be stopped for a $40 bearing. All right, so we've gone over the front, finished off the inspection on the front, put that on the trailer, and then we'll do the in-depth inspection on the header. Yeah, this is where we sort of build the majority of our list is in this part of the inspection if everything else checks out. So Marcus is currently going through, backing everything off. I'll probably start on the other side and we'll sort of meet in the middle.
Just backing off all the belts and chains, just making so we can take off all the belts, give them a good inspection. Obviously some things stand out a bit more than other belts, but yeah, if you take them off and then we can get a good look at them.
Just checking bearing play. So we're just going to make sure every single bearing on this machine has had a bit of a float test or an end plate test or a preload test, depending on what it's sort of set up as. But any sort of standard shaft carrying or supporting bearing, we'll just grab and make sure that the bearing hasn't failed or the races are run out. Can you get an eyeball on these pulleys here? You got any excessive wear? I feel like this outside one might have some. That's got a bit on it, eh?
Yeah, it does.
Yep. So tri-sweep drive pulley. Right, nothing else. Okay, so now you want to jump down here, I'll show you. Fan drive coupling in behind here, stick your head in here. Tell me if you can see that. You see the rubber pad? All right, you see it moving? You got any tears in that rubber coupling there?
Nah.
No.
No.
All right, now I want you to turn that cleaning fan over and make sure you can see all the fins in there. There's no fins missing or anything like that. Now we've checked all the shaker bushes and everything, obviously when it was running, but it's always good to torsion check them to see how much grip they've actually got on the pulley, on the pin, sorry. Paddle's still tight on the shaft, we're pretty happy. And then obviously we've gone through that top one already. And just looking for any other general defects that we find, which it looks pretty good. The only other one we want to check is the lenses. So these lenses aren't obviously worn through, but when they wear through, they fill up with chaff and grain and all sorts of stuff. They will block the image. So usually what we'll say is we weld a ridge on the wearing side of that camera, just to try and alleviate that abrasion that goes across the lens. So we'll write that down, mention it to him, and he might get us to do that, or he'll do it or whatever. We're lifting up the drill pan now so we can get access to the leveling frame. We've got a bit of welding repairs going on here, which seems to be sort of semi-secure. But yeah, we're going to just go and have a look at some spots that we're aware of and that can be quite critical if they do fracture and break. We could be held up for about a week. So we just want to make sure we eyeball all of them. No, this one's good actually. We haven't got any evidence of cracking, so pretty happy with that. We're going to check the chopper blades, retractable knives. Obviously that's for the residue system. Then he's going to drop down and start looking at the top and bottom shoe pan. Make sure he doesn't find, here you go. Make sure he doesn't find any cracks so we can try and nip them in the butt before they get bigger. So we've got to the end of the inspection. We've done the front, covered the adapter and the actual front itself. Now that we've got our list of all the defects, we'll head back to the workshop, do up a bit of a list on our pre-season report template. Usually do a parts list up from as well. We'll send the grower an estimate. He can let us know what he wants to do in relation to level of repairs. And then yeah, when all the parts get here or if he brings the machine into town, we'll get into it and hopefully get it done in a timely manner.